Recording. Hello, friends, Chopra certified instructors. Welcome to the final month of 2020 here in December 30th to be exact. We are so grateful for you for being here with us today. And if you are catching this as a recording, thank you for all your time and your dedication of being Chopra certified instructors. We are in your gratitude. We are so grateful for you, and we truly love coming together once a month to reconnect with our teachers and to be able to share information with you all. And though 2020 has been a little different for everybody, we are just so thankful for this community and this fellowship of friends that get to come together and talk about these teachings and really elevate this world as a universal one that we know that it is. So today's webinar is a very special webinar. We have one of our Chopra certified instructors here with us, Key, and she's going to be talking to you about charting your future and what that means this year. Like I said, has been a very interesting year for all of us, but we have a lot to be grateful for. And she has written a really amazing book that I have been a very big fan of, that I have here, and I have my notes and everything that I've done with it. And she's going to be talking about one of the chapters in her book, and she'll be further speaking about all of it. But today is going to also include a worksheet, okay? And so she has written a really lovely article to accompany today's webinar, as well as providing a worksheet for you all. So I am going to drop in the link for the worksheet before we get started to make sure that you all have it. So I'm dropping it in the chat function right now, and you can click on that link there, and it should take you over to a web browser as a PDF, and then you could just download that and have access to that. Now, if you're stuck or you have any issues, don't worry about it. All you'll have to do is just watch this, and then you'll have access to it later. Or if you want to try, I'll give you a moment here to type in any comments for me if you need me to assist you in that. But more than likely, when you click on that, it takes you to a web browser. And then on that web browser, you should have an arrow down option. If it's Chrome, it's usually over to the right, or even Firefox, it's a little cloud over to the right. Arrow down, go ahead and just select that, and you should have that. Let's see. Oh, I put it up at the top. There's no link. I'm going to drop it in the chat once more. Oh, hold on for me. There we go. Sorry about that. That was a me thing. Hopefully you see it now. Got it. Great. All right, so just again, if this happens to be too much and you can't figure it out and you're worried, don't worry about it. We have all of this available to you on Chopra Teachers, okay? So after this webinar, we will have the recording as well as her article and this worksheet as available as a download for you to accompany today's conversation. All right, making sure it looks like we're good. Okay, so again, just you all at this point know how these webinars go, but if you have any questions that come up for you during today's conversation, please drop them in the Q&A. So there's two options at the bottom right. We've got the chat, which I see everybody commenting, and then there's the Q&A. So if you can drop your questions for our speaker in the Q&A, I'll be able to read those and queue them and clear them so that she can make sure we get to all of your questions, okay? So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to today's guest speaker, Key Browning, and she is the Mind, Body, Spirit Life Coach. She has written this amazing book. She is a Chopra certified instructor, and I've gotten to get to know her more and more. She's truly just like such a heart shining, joy loving person. Like even your face radiates happiness and love, and I love your voice. I've been meaning to tell you that every time I talk to you. It's just so calming and lovely, and I am so thankful for you for being here today with us. So without further ado, help me in welcoming Key with us.
Namaste. Thank you so much for that welcome. Gosh, it's so great to be here, and thank you to all of you who've done so much to bring this together, and thank you to Dr. Chopra for all the work that he's done for humanity and for the world. Just we really need this ancient wisdom today more than ever before. So thank you for this opportunity. And I'm graduated in 2017. I think I was the last physical graduating class. So after that, it all went online. Chopra went online. And so it was just really, I've got my lanyard that's been inspiring me since 2017. And just really appreciate the love and the affection and the connection with the Chopra Center and watching the staff. And it just was really a pleasure to be able to go to the school and see that. And so now I understand that there's more people that are involved in this training because it's all online now. And so that, of course, is a great thing. And we do need more teachers, and we need more people who know about Ayurveda. So thank you again. And I want to talk a little bit about myself, but let's just get grounded here for a minute. So let's just spend a few minutes just getting grounded, and go ahead, and I'm going to make sure both of my feet are on this chair, and make sure that both of your feet are on the floor and one hand to either leg. So you're not touching your hands, because then you end up fidgeting. So just one hand to either leg, and sitting up straight. Just close your eyes for a moment and take a deep breath. Inhale deeply and retain the breath, and exhale, release. Okay, let's do a few more of those. So inhale deeply in the belly, a balloon in the belly, and exhale, release. So this next time, let's inhale, balloon in the belly, not just lifting the shoulders. Hold, retain the breath, and release. Let's do a few more. And release. And one more. Feel that change in the abdomen. So the diaphragm is dropping down. So exhale, exhale, exhale. Inhale deeply like a balloon in the belly. And relax. Just breathe naturally. Breathe comfortably, whatever is natural for you now. And let's just notice the body relaxing just from a few deep breaths. And that little bit of retaining the breath can really shift your hormones. So just taking a couple of breaths and relaxing. And now envision this beautiful light, this golden white light flowing in from the crown chakra down to through the spine and down to your feet, to the earth, as if to flush away any doubt or concern or uncertainty, just letting all of that go, getting grounded, getting centered right now. Feel your body breathing and relax. Relax your shoulders, relax your arms, relax through your body. And imagine that you have energy or even tentacles moving out to your friends and family all around, and gently begin to pull in all of your energy into you. Bring all of your energy in. So bring those tentacles, if you will, bring those in so it's just your energy. And again, fleshing through, just allowing that light, that vitality and energy to flow through your body. And letting go any stress or tension, just letting that flow out of your feet and down into the earth. And let that be recycled like mulch. Just letting the stress be recycled so it's energy for the earth to use. And you don't need to hang on to that stress. Just continue to breathe comfortably and feel the breath flowing in through the nose and up to the pineal gland and down the spine to your feet. Letting go of any stress, getting grounded, feeling calm, confident, and centered. As you continue to feel grounded, allow the body to relax, Allow your legs and lower body to relax, bringing that energy and vitality into the heart, bringing that life force into your lungs and all the way down to your feet. And have a moment of gratitude. Have a moment of gratitude. And gently now, we'll gently begin to come back, always really gentle coming back from meditation. You might sway a little bit. And take a deep breath. Inhale, gently coming back. Gently coming back. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Gently coming back. And good. Okay. Well, I just wanted to tell you, I am Key Browning, and I have a lot of things to talk to you about today with charting your future. And of course, when I wrote my book, Zenergy, I didn't know there was going to be a pandemic. So it's definitely been a very challenging year. Now more than ever, I think, as Erica had expressed it, that there is a level of gratitude for what is working, what is going on correctly in your life. You know, the relationships that you have, they might have gotten stronger. And of course, even maybe your own personal practice. And then just noticing what can be improved. So when we're charting the future, we want to think about our timeline. So I'm going to have to go ahead and stand because I can't just talk and sit in this chair. So what I want to invite you to think about is your timeline. So when we think about charting the future, we think about the timeline either going through you or in front of you. So that your timeline is going through you. Let's say as you're driving, we would say the past is behind and you see it in the rearview mirror, or the future is in front of you and you're driving toward that. So just checking in to see, or does your timeline go in front of you? When you think about your timeline, does it go from left to right? And so how does that move for you? And I think it's important to just be mindful of time, because time is not a solid construct. And I'll go into that a little bit more. But when we're thinking about the time and you're thinking, let's say, I'm going to say the future is off here to your right. So we're going to think about the future and it's over there. So when you think about what it is that you really want, might be a job, it might be a new home or a car or cash, could be a new relationship or a baby. I mean, there's so many possibilities of what you're really wanting in your future. And so when you think about it, are you walking toward it, or are you pulling it toward you? Or are you walking away from it? I mean, sometimes we have goals that are really other people's goals. And so we're like, we say we want those, but we're really walking away from them. And so what I want you to do is just think about your future, think about your goals, and think about what it is that you want. And are you going to walk toward it, or are you going to walk up to it? Are you walking around it, or are you going to bring it to you? So when we think about, say, a fisherman, and they have this net, this fishing net, and the fisherman throws it out and pulls that in, and it's a big net, and you're bringing that, and yes, you do get some fish back with that, but also you might pull in a dead boot and an old tire and some other junk that you don't really need. And so it's like, okay, we want to be specific. Yes, you got some fish in there, but we want to be more specific. So we think about a lasso. And so, of course, as a Texan, I'm going to use that analogy. Can you bring it to you? And so there's a whole different way of looking at it. Maybe you want it over there and that you're going to walk toward it. Or maybe you're going to sit and magnetize it to you. So there's a chapter in Zenergy entitled Charting Your Future and Magnetizing Your Heart Song. I mean, think about that. Magnetizing your heart song. How wonderful. And what is it that you really want? And so when we think about pulling that in or bringing it to us, walking toward it, there's so much that we can do in achieving our divine life purpose. And we each have a life purpose that's very specific. You know, we need engineers, we need mechanics, we need Ayurvedic lifestyle coaches. We need lots of those right now, please. And we need every industry, right? So whatever makes your heart sing is important. I can't do those things, right? I'm doing my job, you do your job, that kind of thing. You know, your husband, your spouse is doing their job, or your children, they've got their task. So each of us are different in that sense. And if we look at our dosha and how our dosha will impact our divine life purpose or our ability to achieve it, then we can, you know, start to really use this message, this Ayurvedic knowledge, and bring it into reality. So I want to talk about that a little bit more. So let's look at Vata, Pitta, Kapha. Now, I'm going to talk about this in different ways. So each of us are all Vata, Pitta, Kapha, and we're Vata, Pitta, Kapha at different times in the day. We're Vata, Pitta, Kapha through like with different people. Like you might be more Vata with this person and more Kapha with that person, right? Or more Pitta with, so you know, like there's like this quality in you comes forward. And I'm going to go into this a little bit more, but I really want you to think about your natural tendency, your dosha, and what would be appropriate career option for you, or what's the best way for you to express yourself now. I know some people are looking for a new job. Some people are looking to enhance what they already have. Other people are empty nesters. So they're like wide open, you know, what's possible now, and everything is possible. So that's a good place to be. But, you know, as far as charting your future with your career, number one, you want to make sure that you have your finances balanced and in order. I'm not a financial advisor, so I'm not going to get into that anymore. But, you know, if you're starting a new job or a new career, a new business, if you're starting a new business, it usually takes about 2 to 5 years for income to really come back. So just being mindful of the finances on that part first. Beyond that, we want to look at what is good for you based on your dosha. So if we look at, let's say, I think of Pittas as more like the president, vice president, the CEO, the driver, the one that's really moving, the very focused, and they're doing the course correction like an airplane, right? When the airplane's flying, you've got the pilot doing the course correction constantly. So we've got that with the Pitta energy. And when Vata, I think of Vata as kind of like a marketing director, advertising director, sales director, you know, team lead, you know, coordinating with a lot of different organizations, or coordinating with a lot of different people. So Vata's like a lot of change. So keeping that in mind with your dosha, you know, if you like these things, you want to pick a job that's going to be appropriate for your expression. Kapha is more like the glue, HR director, pulling everything together, the structure, the stamina. You know, they're there at the end of the caboose going, you know, bringing it on home. And I think that if you look at that, we're all three of those things. And the more that you can contemplate your dosha in relation to your career, then you're going to have more enjoyment. Now, you may have a job, let's say a Vata has a job where we're working from home and you're here at home, and this is your main job now. But Vata's like a lot of movement, and Vata's like a lot of change, and they like to coordinate and do a lot of different things. So if you don't have that ability right now, it might be that you're coordinating with other departments a little bit more, and you're in the process of you know, creating change even in your own environment. If you have this, you know, a static job which is great for other, like Pitta and Kapha. They like that structure. They like that stamina. They want to keep moving in that direction. Whereas Vata has no problem just going off, and we're just going to create something else now. And I would say in 2021, we're all going to need to be a little more Vata. So allowing that out there, just allowing your creative energy to go. Vatas don't have this hang up with going in order, like from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. They're not like that. They're okay to go from one to the other, and aren't, because in the creative process, you're not thinking about the whole process. You're thinking about creativity. So they're just starting projects. Right? That's what Vatas like to do. They like to start things. I mean, like the finishing of it, that's a whole nother structure, or it's a whole nother dosha. It's a whole nother way of thinking. When you're considering, Pitta really likes structure. They want the schedule. They want the modules down. They want to know, where we're going on this and the direction. They want focus. And yeah, there's a little bit here and there, but overall we're going in this direction. And so that's where Pittas really shine. They can get serious on whatever it is that they're, whatever the direction, mission of the company. And Kaphas actually are bringing it all together. And so if you find that you are one more than the other, then you just want to honor your natural dosha and see how that can play into your career. So if you prefer to be, not in the limelight, Kaphas, generally speaking, again, I'm just like, generally speaking on this, Kaphas would like to be, kind of the rounding things up and helping people, creating the structure, so we're moving in that direction toward the goal. And so if you don't like to be on stage, or you don't want so much attention, then there's other ways, to choose jobs that are going to strengthen your natural abilities. And that is so important right now. We really want to keep strengthening our natural abilities. You can't be all things to all people. You can't be all things to your corporation, to your business. And even if you're designing a new career for yourself, you're not going to be all things. Now, we are a little bit of each throughout the day, but overall, you need to figure out your highlights, your strong suits, and what can you outsource if you are starting your own business. So I think it's really important to kind of think about what is easiest for you naturally. And we're going to go over those worksheets in a little while. So I want to give you a little bit of time to really think about what it is that you're bringing to you. I want you to think about not walking toward it, but bringing it to you. So there's all this talk of 5G. Let's talk about 5D, fifth density. So we're talking about 3D, third density. We know what 3D is, right? 4D is the element of time, and time is not a solid construct. Time flies when you're having fun, and it can stand still when things are very challenging. And so there is that feeling or that sense of time that is not a solid construct. As human consciousness continues to evolve, we will continue to move into 5D, 6D, 7D, whatever it is that you want to call it. And as we evolve, what we know is that where we're going is not going to be more atoms or more of this solid construct. We're going to be more in this aura or this energy field around you, like your own personal iCloud. We have an iCloud out there. You have your own personal iCloud. And so for you to manifest from fifth dimension and bring that into you, it is going to be more of a magnetizing through the meditation and through your contemplation of what it is that makes your heart sing. And so it's important for you to be joyful It is. It's not a luxury item, especially right now. We need more people who feel on target and committed to their goal, whatever that is, that you're moving toward that, and that you have a sense of gratitude and love and joy while you're doing it. So just continue to think about your thoughts are emanating out. You have a vibrational frequency or a vibrational currency even, and that your thoughts of joy, love, commitment, connection, centeredness, all of that is going out into the world. So it's going out into your personal iCloud, and you will attract what it is that you want. And it will come to you. When you have a thought, it doesn't stay in your cranium. It doesn't just get stuck here. Whatever it is that you're thinking about, like let's say a new car, when you're driving, you start noticing other cars like the one that you want. And so now a thought that you had here is expanding and it's going out wherever you are. And then now you're researching, and then the things that are coming back, you're getting more insight. All of this is part of you attracting what you want. So when we have a certain thought, we have a desire and energy for something, that's important for you. It's important for you to achieve that. And so I just invite you to keep contemplating that 5D. I even think of 5D as kind of paradise or nirvana or heaven, and that we're moving toward that. What is heaven or paradise or nirvana for you? It's different for each of us. And the one that notion, that thought, that insight that you have it in your personal iCloud around you, and you're pulling it into you each day. So that's why it's so important to maintain balance in our doshas. So let me just talk about that a little bit more. So let's say you wake up in the morning. So do you wake up Vata, Pitta, Kapha? I know when I was in the Chopra training, that was something that I was learning. Like each morning I'd wake up and, oh, I noticed this day I was a little more Vata, or that day I was a little more Kapha, or whatever might happen, right? And so when you wake up, the day hasn't even started yet. So are you waking up joyful? Hopefully. Or are you just like, Vata imbalance, right? All the anxiety and the tension, the little pellet poop. You know what I'm talking about? Deer pellet poop. Right? It's like the body is so uptight and it's like, oh, nothing's coming out. Okay, so that's Vata imbalance. You want to do your sesame oil abhyanga and even drink some of that oil. You need to get more of that oil into the body, and balance that anxiety down. And there's a lot of, of course, warm, hearty meal, let's say oatmeal, is great for all three doshas. And the abhyanga is perfect for all three doshas too. But I'm just being specific about these things. If you wake up a certain way, like angry, if you wake up angry, where's my coffee? It's like, well, go take a cold shower, right? I mean, that pitta imbalance is heat, and it needs to come out. It needs to be cooled off. So I wouldn't recommend drinking cold water. I would just say take a cold shower. It doesn't have to be Wim Hof ice cold, but it can be cold. And even if it starts off warm, that you get a cold. But if you wake up imbalanced, you want to make sure that you're trying to get back to balance and self-regulate, because that's the whole thing that we've got to really be looking at right now, self-regulation. With the kapha imbalance, we think of like procrastination, or you're like kicking, I'm not interested, I'm avoiding, and in bed a little sleepy, congested, sad. So those types of feelings and energy can lead you to lay in bed a little bit longer. And it may be that you need to. We have had a lot of grief this year, and there's a lot of loss from everything that's happening. These changes that we've been going through are pretty intense. And so we want to be mindful of that. And if you've had a loss in your life, we had 2 family members pass, not from COVID, but I'm still dealing with that loss of family. And so when you're in bed, sometimes it may be that you just need to stay there, maybe just for another maybe go to bed an hour early or stay an hour later. Maybe on Saturday or, an off day, you just, take a long nap for 2 or 3 hours. So where you're spending a little more time balancing yourself and being calm and taking care of any kind of kapha imbalances. I don't want to say that grief is an imbalance or it's out of balance. I would say that it is an expression of kapha. And right now we are all going through a loss all around the world and in so many different ways. And it's serious. So I would recommend, if you have had a loss of your best friend or a loss of a, significant person, maybe you do spend a day in bed and just rest and let yourself cope and relax. That's good. But tomorrow you're going to get up and at least go take a bath. Okay. Maybe a hot Epsom salt bath, but at least get up, get out of your bed and go to the bathtub, that kind of thing. So you're having some movement. Open the curtains, even if you go back to bed. So I know as a therapist, I work with people with bereavement, and it makes such a difference to allow yourself a day to rest, but don't let the muscles atrophy, right? So we're not going to just drift off into that. You want to make sure that you're staying balanced. So in the morning, you get up and you self-regulate. Oh, I don't really want to get out of bed. Okay, so you're doing cinnamon then. You're adding some nutmeg to your nutrition. Remember, food is medicine. So we need something to stimulate the metabolism. And that does make a big difference in your overall vitality. And if you're wanting to lose weight, also really good to have a little bit of cinnamon and a little bit of nutmeg in your tea or your coffee in the morning or your oatmeal. Again, a warm, hearty meal is always going to be balancing and grounding for each of us. And the more that we can do that, then it will help us when we think about our goals. What is it that you're magnetizing? And if when you think about your goals, you're kind of like afraid, like it's so major, it's this whole thing over there that maybe you're like resisting, trying to hold it back, then we need to like piece that out a little bit more. The final goal is too close. You need more steps between here and the successful achievement of that goal. And that's something that I think we all need to be mindful of, so if in your mind, when you're thinking about your goal, you see it as too big, it's too close to you. We need smaller steps that you're going to take. So just in this image, if that's true for you, just make it smaller by pretending and moving it away from you. Okay, whatever that goal is. And then we can walk toward it a little bit more or slowly pull it in. So both work. And it does make a difference in just noticing how you're thinking about, like, what are the images or the feelings that you have about a goal or even a relationship, something that you really want. Is it too inaccessible or is it right there? So sometimes it's really close. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can do XYZ. So with the Pitta energy, we want to set out a schedule. We want to set out steps. We want to set out how many by when. We need something measurable, very important. And when things are measurable, then it makes a big difference for you. So in this next year, I think it's going to be important that we're more flexible about our timeline, but still have one. So it might be that you are in the process, that you've got your, you expect to do X, X by, let's say February 1st, but maybe it happens February 15th or something. That's still a success, right? If something is getting, rescheduled, that's okay. It's still scheduled. It's not like canceled. so that you're not like tied in on that. You know, the Vata imbalance can be very controlling, you know, very micromanager. That's what an out of balance Vata does, you know, so it's got to be right now, you know, now well, that's getting into Pitta, but, you know, but really, you know, just that fear, that worry can really be a Vata imbalance that can stop the flow of all of this happening. With the Pitta imbalance, we would say, you know, that anger can come up, being hangry, or just, you know, just fly off the handle. And anyone in your life could do these things. You might do it, or it might be somebody else. And we're all under a lot of stress right now. So I just invite you to think about that. Like if that happens to you, or you do it, just let that go. Don't dwell. Don't harbor resentments. Right now, we need to just keep letting that go, and like a water off a duck's back, you know, that you're just letting that go. Yeah, I didn't agree with it. And just the simple question, what did that mean? If you ask somebody that, like if they said something to you that got you all defensive, you know, then you just ask, what did that mean? What did you mean by that? Just that simple thing. And with that kind of gentle tone, not, what did you mean? Right? Not that, but what did you mean by that? I didn't understand. And then they'll go, oh, well, I was distracted because my cat came in, or I was texting, I was doing something. Now almost everybody's distracted right now. So you just assume they got distracted while they were talking to you. And if that's your go-to, then you can gently ask this question instead of jumping to the conclusion that it was intended. And then maybe it was intended, but that's a whole nother story. You know, your story of what's happening can change what's happening, where you want it to turn out good. And then if you want it to turn out good, it will. And so if you're expecting it to go wrong and you're all upset about it, you're right. I mean, you're going to get that dissonance. When I see an energy field, the auric field, people are imbalanced, it looks more like static, and it's like coming out like that. And so the meditation smooths all that out. Well, you have so much more knowledge about health and wellness and meditation than probably everyone in your family and everyone at your office, maybe, unless you work at Chopra. So, I mean, part of it is trying to notice that you are, you know, in the staying balanced. You're in the possibility of that. And when things go wrong, you don't jump to a conclusion. You try to stay as open as possible. Is it going to happen every time? No. When we look at charting the future, are there going to be some stumbling blocks there on the way? Maybe, maybe not. Let's not like put them there. Maybe they're there. And then can we make them just into like a little speed bump versus a big old wall that you've got to figure out how to surmount and move around? Can you just lower those, whatever those obstacles are? I think it makes a big difference to try to, and you know, as you think about your future, that you're, you know, you see any obstacles out there as less or lower, smaller. You know, yes, that's a problem there. That person, that thing, that's going to be an issue. But overall, it's, you know, it's down there. I'm going to just walk over it instead of try to climb up it. You know? So let's go ahead and get our worksheets now. So I think it's really good to contemplate these steps. And here's step one. So list all of your skills, like anything. So when you're magnetizing your heart song, you want to list your skills like anything, waiting tables, plumbing, typing, anything that you're good at, software programs, list them all. You know, even though you're great at Facebook, list that too. You know, list everything, even though you think, oh, everyone does this, just go ahead and write that down. And these worksheets, I think it's important that you keep them for yourself. Like you put these in an envelope and not so much seal it, but just, you know, put it away so it's not accessible to other people. This is for you. And the more like of a diary this can be, then you can really find what it is that you're looking for. It can make a big difference in, if you think someone's going to read it, you might not write everything that you're intending. So on step 2, list the jobs that you've held in the past, even short, temporary, or volunteer assignments. You learn something from everything that you do, and all of these things can help you design what it is that you want and chart your future, but also magnetize your heart song. So it helps you to think about what you're good at and also what your skill set is. So you want to, this isn't a resume though. So this is just a worksheet for you, list your education, any kind of personal development classes you've taken, like this one. I also mentioned on this, like marital retreat, if you've taken any kind of personal retreat like that, also list it so you can remember. I remember at some point I did this was years ago now, and I had taken so many classes that I had forgotten. And it took me, I don't know, maybe about a week to, they kind of started, tinkering in a little bit. And it was like, oh yeah, that was another class that I took. And that was another class. So you write all that down, and it really does make a difference in you acknowledging yourself for the training that you've had, but also it makes a big difference in knowing how you can contribute all this wisdom back into your community. So what do you like to do in your spare time? Any kind of favorite hobbies, any kind of activities like that make a big difference in knowing what you want to do in the future. Right now is a great time to do a vision board, some type of craft like a vision board. It can really make a difference in the images that you could walk toward or move toward. So vision boards are really helpful year round. So I like to recommend that you make a list of your top 10 locations or environments that you want to live in. And it might be that you're never going to live there, but that you like to visit, you like to go to those locations. And, it might be in the mountains or it might be at the beach. All of that's great. Doesn't matter either way. And just get your ideas down on paper. On step 6, I ask about your pace. So think about what your pace is. And you might like it slow and steady country living, or you might like big city, fast living and all the people and all the amenities around you. So thinking about your pace makes a difference. Even if you don't change your location, it helps you to identify what type of work or what type of next job you might want. So if you want it to go a little slower, then you're going to choose a different business than say a startup. If you want things to go fast, you're at a startup, so it's a whole different type of workload, and you're aware of what your interest is. What's your favorite time of day? Morning, noon, or night? Some people like the wee hours, but even the wee hours now with Zoom, if you're wide awake at midnight, that's noon somewhere else. So you could be marketing your skills and talents to the other side of the planet right now and get that information out there when it's their high noon and it's your midnight. There's no jobs here at midnight. Yes, there are. So what is your favorite time? What's your favorite time of day to wake up? How can you, recognize and honor your natural tendencies? I think overall, if, as the adage goes, early to bed, early to rise makes a woman healthy, wealthy, and wise. If you go to bed a little earlier, you're going to feel better overall, generally speaking. But I know some of you really are night owls, and so that's just how it is. And maybe you really will find business on the other side of the planet, which you can do now, which is pretty awesome. Okay, so the next question is, where do you spend time when you go on vacation? where do you spend time? So do you stay inside? Maybe you're going to museums and things like that, or do you like to go to outside to activities, events, kayaking, hiking, that kind of thing? So knowing what you like to do, inside, outside, is also really important. What are the things that intrigue you? And what talent do you not have that you admire in others? So think about that for a minute. What talent do you not have that you admire in others? And could you take a small step in finding that skill within yourself? So if you like to paint, then go buy a canvas, get started, make the first brush stroke and see what happens from that. It does make a difference in knowing your hobbies and knowing what works for you personally. So on this step 10, I recommend that you create a professional list of personal contacts and then a 1 to 3 word description of their admirable traits. So when you think about that, like if someone's helpful or kind, or they're generous or jovial, or they're creative, or they're fitness oriented, or what it is that you really like about them, just go ahead and write that down. Think about the trait. It could be your next door neighbor, anything, so that you're looking at those. And I give you a whole list of suggested words to kind of get you on track for that, get you started there. And then we want to create a list of the top 10 people that you admire. Could be, again, a neighbor, could be a relative, could be a celebrity. And why do you admire them? So when I say someone that you like or admire, or a celebrity, is there someone that comes to mind right away? Put that one down right now. So go ahead and write that down. And what is it that you like about them? Well, I don't know. They're friendly, okay, well, they smile a lot, or, they're jovial, whatever it is. So whatever is impressive to you, just off the cuff, we want to write that down. And so that was the other thing too, that when you're writing things quickly and you're writing things off the cuff, what you write right now is going to be different from what you're going to add on later today or tomorrow, the next day. That's why it's nice to kind of see this as kind of a diary, if you will, that this is personal and you really don't want to share it with anybody until you know what it is that you want. And so this is all just finding out what that is. On step 12, I have here to narrow down the qualities that you admire in other people. So even though you admire all of the qualities, which ones do you admire the most? And just put it on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the highest and the most valued. And let's say you appreciate someone who's organized. Maybe you don't feel that organized and you appreciate that in them, then go ahead and rank yourself on that level. So you've got their talent, and I guess you perceive them to be a 10 on all of those things, whether they are or not. I guess that's how we interpret people, right? And then when you're so if you like that, being organized, that skill, then maybe what you do for yourself as far as taking action and bringing that skill to you is that because you already have it, but maybe just organize under the bathroom sink. Might take you an hour, just cleaning pull everything out, organize that out. And when you could do something small like that, it will make you feel successful for starters, but also energized. Like you'll feel that energy, you'll feel, okay, wow, it's almost like taking a bath. It's like you're cleaning out a closet or cleaning out underneath the bathroom sink. That's a skill. And then you're developing it there in this very simple and easy way. And then we're going to apply it into other things in your career so that then you can have that skill more at your ready. When you're thinking about people that you admire, your heroes and your sheroes, how do you admire them from afar? Like you could never do that, or you could? And how can you start to bring those skills or gifts toward you? I think it's one of the things that I recommend is even reading the biographies of your admired friends or of the celebrities. Read their biographies, and that's a step toward understanding them more and understanding how you can apply some of that in your own life. So um, on step 13, I ask, what is your favorite activity and why? And so you might already have some things that you've written down. So let me ask it to you this way. If there was something that I said you could never do that again, and you'd be like, oh no, okay, that's probably one of your favorite activities. So I know for some people, if they say, okay, you can never work out again, they'd be like, great. Okay, not that one. I love to bike and exercise, so and yoga. And so for me, if someone said I couldn't exercise or work out anymore, I'd just be like, ah, that's for me, that's a hard one. So I love that. So think about that when I ask you, what's the one thing that you love doing? If I said you couldn't do that anymore, cooking, writing, painting, whatever it is, you could go there. That's something that is one of your, or many of your favorite activities. So write that down. On step 14, it's more about your favorite season, location. Where is your peak energy during the year, or when is your peak energy? So when we think about our, like maybe you like spring, you might like winter, fall, what season is most enjoyable to you? Because this also lets you know more about where you would like to live or where you would like to spend more time. The other thing too is that it allows you to know, kind of the temperature even that you enjoy, so that you want to keep your home or your body in that kind of temperature. So that also makes a difference. Now, I know that we're in very different times from when I wrote this book and just published it in March. But so when I ask you, what city did you visit last, or what's a great city that you've been to before that you really enjoy, and where could you visit, which city could you visit next? It might be now that it's more, that you're visiting online, Rick Steves and Edgar Casey, they have all kinds of classes and places you could travel online. And, but even if you still can, if you're not totally quarantined, just even going to the next suburb, like what is, east of you, what's west of you, what cities nearby. And when you visit there, even online, what are the top 10 things that you do in that next city? It does give you some ideas of what you can do in your own space, but even just thinking outside of that same. If you're in a rut, which most of us are right now, it does make a difference in thinking just outside your box. So it doesn't have to be, I'm going to fly down to Bonaire, or I'm going to go to Argentina. It could be something simple, like I'm just going to go to the next city nearby. I haven't been over there in a long time. And possibly you could drive there, not get out. You could just drive over there and just see what's going on in that city. And then, of course, I love to ask this question. I remember Amanda asking this when we were there. And what do you really, 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 really want? So from all these questions, the final question, or one of them, and near it, is, what do you really, really want? And it's that, it's that final really. That's what we want to know. What do you really, really want? And there's lots of ways to bring that to you. There's lots of ways for you to get to that goal. It does take a little bit of time. And I think for a lot of people, they don't really know what they want. They know what they don't want. And they think about what they don't want a lot, but they don't think about what they do want. So like I was mentioning earlier in the presentation, when I asked you about, what do you anticipate 5D to be? What is the next dimension? What is paradise to you? What is nirvana? What's heaven to you? How do you get there? Well, you don't get there by saying there's no such thing as that. You say, you declare it, pull it in. I want that. I want peace. I want harmony, whatever it is that you're wanting. And then it starts with you balancing your dosha, being kind and gentle to yourself as you're going through these challenging times. You know, it's really, it's not a luxury to think about what you really want. It's a necessity now. Very important for you to ask these questions and start moving toward it. You know, you're not going to finish everything that you want to do in one lifetime, but if you don't take steps to start toward it, you're never going to experience anything, you know, of the goal and the success that you're choosing. So take a little bit of time to think about what you really want. Again, we're not telling anyone about it yet, but we might at some point. And then I like to think about this one. What if you won the lottery? What if you received an unexpected inheritance? What would you do then? A lot of people say, quit my job, you know. Okay, well, you still have 24 hours. So what are you doing? What are you doing with your time? So who's with you? Who are your team players? You know, who's with you enjoying life? I think if we could spend a little more time thinking about that, like winning the lottery or, you know, having some of these other burdens lifted off of us, then what are you spending your time on? And so sometimes the heaviness of the structure and how you're going to deliver it and bring it to you and what you're going to do, sometimes those things can get in the way of you actually fantasizing about winning the lottery. Well, this would go wrong, or that would go wrong, or this or that, you know. So it's like, no, just be on that blissful experience, at least for a few minutes or a few hours, you know. And on step 19, I ask you to look for patterns in your life for the past 5, 10, or 15 years. So just look for the past. Is there a recurring theme? Is there something that just keeps recycling and coming through? Oh, here it is again. This is going on. What is it that could be a recurring theme? And I mentioned in this this worksheet, it says, you know, you might be an accountant, but everybody stops at your office for counseling. So you might be a good counselor also, even though you get paid as an accountant. So that kind of thing, you know, what else are you good at? Yeah, I'm doing this job, but I'm also doing 3 more here on the side, and I like those. So just being mindful of how much time you're spending at different skills, even though maybe one or main, you know, 1, 2, or 3 actually are paying you, but you have all these other skills that you bring to the table. So I think those are really important questions. And now, what are the action steps that you're going to take to move toward your goals? So it's important to have a how many by when. And how many by when, meaning what are the steps that you're going to take and when are you going to do it? If you want to have more of the traits that you admire in, say, a celebrity, can you read the biography or even just some notes online about them? When can you do that? Okay, well, I can read 1 biography or start it tomorrow or, you know, this week, you know, that kind of thing. So you have to have the timeline on that. Otherwise, it's kind of like sailing rudderless, you know, you're just kind of out there, just going and going. So when we have that direction, and you know what you want, what you like, and what you admire, and how you're wanting to pull those qualities to you, you're more on the lasso, bringing it into you or magnetizing it into you instead of trying to hike up the mountain going uphill. So I think that can make a big difference. Well, there's so much to talk about on this topic, which I totally love. And I did want to do a little meditation now. So I think we still have a little more time. So let's go ahead and settle in for a meditation now. And we will do questions after the meditation. So if you could find a comfortable chair and make sure that both of your feet are on the floor, one hand to either leg. Okay, so I sat like this for a long time. I'm not sure if I can show it here, but touching my thumbs together. And so this is one way to touch the chakras together of the center of the palm as well as the thumbs. And so you're still touching the arms together, hands up. Now, hands up or down is fine. But even that, you can start to get into, fidgeting. And so it's just better if one hand to either leg, then the hands aren't touching and you're not going to fidget. And that's one way to help you to meditate a little better. Okay, so let's go ahead and just quiet down for a moment and find a comfortable seated position and just let go. And as you close your eyes, feel your feet on the floor, feel grounded. And envision a mystical key opening the door to your vibrant, joyful, and passionate life. Just think about that. As you relax, imagine holding the key in your hand and feel it in your hand and see the door before you. So you might sense that the door is in front of you, or you might feel it or see it. Somehow you will know that there is a door ahead of you. So notice any outside markings on the door. Is there a shingle or a sign indicating what type of business it is? Do you hear any sounds or voices from the other side of the door? What do you hear? As you turn the key, you feel the anticipation of something wonderful about to happen to you. You know that the experience on the other side of that door is just perfect for you. Allow all your senses to come alive toward your new life and fantasize fully right now. Unlock the door and walk through the threshold. Use your unlimited imagination now. Feel successful now, as if you are already living that new life. Allow that vision to come alive and know the excitement of your dreams coming true. Offer gratitude for what you're seeing and sensing. Discovering what you love creates a deep, meaningful life with lasting happiness. What's on the other side of the door? Close your eyes, use that magical key, and unlock the door right now. See it, feel it, hear it, and know it right now. Sense that door opening. What's on the other side waiting for you? Continue to breathe comfortably and just let those visions come through. That's right. Just relax and let the images or the feelings or the knowing just happen right now. Just being open to anything that might happen. Feeling that life force flowing from the crown of your head down the spine to your feet. Receive it now. And soon we're going to come back. Just allow yourself to gently come back. Come back softly, begin to move back and forth, just moving the spine, rolling the shoulders. And as you come back, gently now, you can begin to open your eyes and write down anything, any feeling, a color, a memory, any information that might have come up from that, as insignificant as it may seem right now. Please write that down. And then when you're ready, we'll go ahead and move into questions.
Thank you so much, Key. You were amazing. I enjoyed every moment of that. You're so animated, and like I shared at the beginning, I'm sure people will agree, your voice is so smoothing and loving, and everything you shared was amazing. You're so qualified. I was reading your bio before we connected, but I truly share with everyone what you're certified in, because it's pretty extensive.
Thank you. Yeah.
Can you share with them what you're certified in?
Sorry, yes. Oh, sure. Okay, yeah. Well, I am certified in a lot of things, and because I love health and wellness, and I started in the 80s, and so there wasn't even a word called wellness back then. It was just fitness, and you're either in the fitness craze and running marathons with Kenneth Cooper, who's the father of aerobics. So I've trained with him and I'm certified with him, and I trained at his center in Dallas for quite some time. So I'm a certified strength trainer and a registered yoga teacher and a fitness over 50 specialist with a focus on Parkinson's. I have a degree in psychology. I graduated with honors from the University of Texas in Dallas. I'm a board certified hypnotherapist, and I'm a mind, body, spirit, life coach. Additionally, I'm a regression therapist. I have trained with Dr. Brian Weiss, who's the premier psychiatrist in regression therapy, as well as Peter Woodbury, who is the leader at the Edgar Cayce Center. So I've trained at the Edgar Cayce Center. I'm a life member, and I have been training and doing past life regressions since the 90s. And so I like to do a lot of different things to help people stay well. So we're not just talking about nutrition, we're not just talking about psychology, but we can talk about a lot of different things to help people stay well. And of course, I love yoga, and yoga has just changed my life completely. So I'm really grateful that I found yoga in the 90s.
And so for everyone listening, well, one, she teaches yoga with her setup in the background there, which is why she's so animated and quick to get up, because I know that was one of our first conversations about how you have a lovely setup because you're doing this even remotely still. And I will say that her book has all of that, and it shows, and that's why there is a question about your book here that I'm going to ask, that I'll ask out loud. But her book is everything. It walks you through the mind, it walks you through the body, and with all of her degrees and certifications, like that all is very true here. It's super, it has beautiful illustrations, it has recipes, it has this charting section, it has healthy boundaries, it has a whole spiritual section. Many of our teachers, of course, are already in that level and understand that, but I love how you lay it out here, because even you sharing this section of charting your heart, as I read it when I got your book a couple months ago, when I was reading it, I was thinking about how you're explaining each one of the sections in the workshop or in the worksheet that you gave. But when you read your book, it's really, I love how you ask more in-depth questions to really get you thinking about those questions. And after you've listed everything out, like the last couple of pages, I was reading how you were saying, like, it's not to be rushed and really that it's over time, but then you give a whole taking action. So there's a whole section on taking action. Like, what do you do now that you've written this stuff down? And I think as we enter the new year, I think this is so important. Like you said at the beginning, people do vision boards, they do some manifestation circles, they really write out their intentions for the year. But holding on to this worksheet, with these 20 questions, like, it is something that doesn't have to happen. You don't do it in one sitting. You can do it every night. You recommend setting aside maybe 20 minutes a day to just jot things down. Maybe after meditation, coming out with maybe anything you remember, just all of those steps that, again, I think is really important. I think it's powerful. And I think this year where we may have, some may have a little bit more time on their hands, some may be more busy than ever, just setting aside that time and really focusing and writing those out are so important. It truly is. So thank you so much for that. And like I said, big fan of your book. I love the recipes. I love everything you've written in here. I truly encourage everyone. If you are interested in her book, it will be part of the handout. And once I ask these questions, I'll type in your information there for people if they want to click on your website and check out your book. But Mushira, sorry about that. She asked a question about it. She says, I love the book title, Zenergy. If I may ask, I'm wondering if the book is about using our energy towards self-realization.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And we do need that, to, I have all of these kind of techniques, these different methods and modalities in the book to help you achieve self-actualization and realization. I think it's very important. And Zenergy, I think of Zen, like yin yang, a balance of energy, as well as your energy, the vitality, the joy, the enthusiasm of life.
Amazing. I'm just going to drop in really quick the chat here, your link to your book, which lands you on your website. Okay, it's there. Joetta, hi Joetta. She asked a couple questions. She says, regarding step number 6, what is your pace is a combination of the 3. I think as we were going through it, and I was kind of taking some notes too, as we were going through that step 6, I think maybe the question is it a combination of, what is your pace? Slow and easy, little traffic, country living. So she says, regarding step 6, what is your pace is a combination of all 3. Oh, maybe you mean, Joetta, what if your pace is a combination of all 3? Maybe that's what the question is.
Okay, that's great. Well, I mean, then, you might like all 3 and, and we all do, right? Different times of the day or different times of the week or month, you're going to enjoy going faster or slower. So that's really good. When we're asking these questions, the intention is to find your life purpose. So what is it that's natural for you, that you just like to go fast or you just like to go slow, and that, so then that helps you to design how you're going to continue to live, how you will spend your time in the future and what type of job you want. Like I was saying, if you're a fast-paced person, then a startup would be a good company to work with. But if you like things to be a little slower, then you need to look for a different type of job. Right now, of course, we're all moving fast and trying to learn all the technology and everything and revamping our houses so that we can live in this new world. And but I think it's kind of like the doshas. We're all 3, but you're really one more than the others. So we're all 3, but you're really one than the other. So go ahead and ask yourself that question a little bit more. And it may be that it'll come to you maybe over another day or 2. So it's like your first answer is all 3. And then as time goes on, you go, well, I really like this pace a little better.
Awesome. Thank you. And Joetta asked a question, and I read your worksheet, so the question, her question is, may I share this worksheet with my 2 daughters? So I know you have, of course, at the bottom, requesting that it's for this conversation. And, if they were to ask for need permission from you to share it. So I think Joetta's question is her daughters live with her and she wants to know if she can use that for them, just to give to them.
Well, yes, ask your kids these questions. These are great questions to ask. I mean, I'm just, requesting that you don't copy the material and send it out. But yes, please ask your spouse, ask your kids, ask everybody these questions, because everybody needs to know why they're here, what they're doing, how can they contribute, how can your life have more personal meaning and value and how you can contribute in different ways. And generally speaking, children know why they're here. The younger they are, the more they know. So I would say under 7. They might not be able to articulate it entirely, but generally speaking, children do know a little bit more about what their gifts are. But these questions can be very useful.
All right, amazing. Okay, do we have any more questions for Key here before we conclude? I'll give it a moment here. But again, I just want to express my gratitude to you, Key. This was so great. I loved I loved everything. Everyone saying thank you. And question of where do we get these sheets? So Mariama, it was in the chat. I sent the link there. I'll drop it in there again. I think I can actually type the answer here. So let me get that link for you really quick again, and you can get it there. Again, this will also be in our Chopra Teachers. So hopefully everyone has access to Chopra Teachers, and you can go to Chopra Teachers, and then you go into Teacher Resources, and then this recording will be in the webinar section, and then the handouts are already, and her article are also already under articles. Okay, so you'll be able to find both of these materials there. Yeah, so everyone's just saying that great session. They really enjoyed your conversation with them today, Key. Anything you want to conclude with?
Well, thank you again. This has been so much fun to have this time together. And my book is available on Amazon. You can get the digital copy on Amazon. And then also on my website, if you want the physical book, it's on my website at keybrowning.com. So that's available, and you can email me at key@keybrowning.com or zenergy@choprateachers.com. So I look forward to hearing from you and staying in touch. I am available for private counsel.
All right. Thank you so much, Key. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you all for being here with us and or listening to this recording as we conclude this year. Again, from Chopra, we are so thankful for each and every one of you. And we look forward to the new year. We're going to kick off the year with a webinar with Roger Gabriel. He has put together already a very, very beautiful article that's going to actually cover the whole year. So we're going to talk about Vedic texts throughout the year, and so every month we'll have a Vedic text as well as a mantra to go with it. So look forward to that. We are definitely in the mood and mode still of changing some things up. So we actually will be including a little bit more on our Instagram. So the certifications has an Instagram account, which is only for teachers. And I will be dropping that on our Facebook later in case anyone wants to join or follow there, because beginning January, we will definitely have more engagement there. And I'm looking forward to just continuing to support all of our lovely certified instructors. And soon to be, we have large groups right now. I mean, as Key was sharing earlier, you know, being online, being the year of really a lot of people looking for wellness, we have large classes right now. So we currently have a primordial sound group that began their certification process and program in November. There are over 380 people. So we have a very large group of brand new primordial sound teachers that will be joining our global teachers probably at the end of February, early March. And so they'll be joining us. And so our groups keep growing, and we're so grateful for that, because we all know that we need more teachers, and we're so thankful for the ripples you are making in your community. And we look forward to just continue to serve you. So until we chat again, which will hopefully be very soon here, wishing you all a very happy new year, and we will see you back in January 2021. Namaste, friends.
Namaste. So good to know you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.